Why, God, why do protests block the roads we drive each day? Why, God, why are Dutch concerns just pushed aside away? Why, God, why is climate praised while nations fade away? Why, God, why are patriots condemned for what they say? Why, God, why do they march for trees but not for human need? Why, God, why do they virtue signal while our people bleed? Why, God, why do they label selves yet judge what others choose? Why, God, why must tradition always be the one to lose? Why, God, why do they preach inclusion yet exclude the rest? Why, God, why is the working man now treated as a pest? Why, God, why do they claim to fight for freedom with their cries? Why, God, why do they silence voices that they demonize? Why, God, why do they blame our past for every modern ill? Why, God, why must our heritage be broken at their will? Why, God, why do they praise the foreign while despising home? Why, God, why must our culture fade while others freely roam? Why, God, why do the streets fill up with banners, not with pride? Why, God, why are our borders open while our values hide? When farms are forced to close their doors and families lose it all? Why, God, why must our nation's backbone be the first to fall? Why, God, why must our children learn that guilt runs in their blood? Why, God, why is tradition drowned beneath this modern flood? Why, God, why do they claim to speak for those without a voice? Why, God, why do they then dismiss our people's rightful choice? Why, God, why do they call for peace yet sow division deep? Why, God, why do they break the laws that they demand we keep? Why, God, why do elites decide what truths we're allowed to say? Why, God, why are the common folk expected just to pay? Why, God, why does our history become a source of shame? Why, God, why must our children bear this undeserved blame? Why, God, why do they claim to build a world that's just and fair? Why, God, why do they scorn the very homes they claim to care? Why, God, why do they preach of tolerance but practice none? Why, God, why is the battle for our culture never won? Why, God, why do they celebrate when farms are forced to close? Why, God, why do they mock the pain that every farmer knows? Why, God, why is identity a weapon in their hands? Why, God, why do they fracture what was whole across our lands? Why, God, why do they claim to fight for justice, truth, and right? Why, God, why do their actions bring more darkness than the light? Why, God, why if they're for the people, do they cause such pain? Why, God, why does their progress leave our heritage in chains? With broken towns around us, where's the future they prepare? Why, God, why do we wonder if our nation will be there? Why, God, why must we watch them tear our customs to the ground? Why, God, why does their tolerance make judgment all around? Why, God, why should we silent stand while they reshape our home? Why, God, why must our values fade while others freely roam? Why, God, why can't they see the damage done by their crusade? Why, God, why do traditions centuries old so quickly fade? Why, God, why do they claim to build but only seem to break? Why, God, why is our heritage the price we have to make? Why, God, why must we be the ones who always have to yield? Why, God, why not preserve the culture that our fathers sealed? Why, God, why must we bow our heads to every new demand? Why, God, can't we stand together for our native land?